Welcome to Perspectives, a podcast where the clergy women of the First United Methodist Church of San Diego share their musings on scripture, theology, and what it has to do with us. Hi, friends. Welcome to Perspectives, our podcast from First UMC of San Diego. We are continuing our series on I Have Been Meaning to Ask You. In this episode, we'll be covering a question of where are you from two different perspectives. Today, I have a special guest, Khalid Alsabag, who is also a member of this church, who joined our church family about a little over 2.5 years ago officially, and he's been dropping by before then. So here's Khalid with me, and welcome, Khalid.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thanks for joining us today. Today, he and I will share our experiences in light of John chapter 1, verses 43 through 46. So let's refresh our mind by reading this text. The next day, Jesus wanted to go into Galilee, and he found Philip. Jesus said to him, "Follow me." Philip was from Bethsaida, the hometown of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law and the prophets, Jesus, Joseph's son from Nazareth." Nathanael responded, "Can anything from Nazareth be good?" Philip said, "Come and see." So this is a text. Jesus goes around the town, different places, and meet people and say, "Follow me," without saying much further. And then those who are called by him also go out to invite others. And Philip did the same thing to Nathanael, saying, "Come and see this person." And geez, Nathanael, too much assumptions about this town called Galilee. Can anything from Nazareth? Can anything from Nazareth be good? Was the question he asked. And Philip calmed his questions and said, "Come and see. You get to experience who this person is, not where he's from." So as a person who looked different outside, I often hear people ask me, "Where are you from?" And when I say I'm from South Korea, I often run into the follow-up questions or stories. So which city? Or do you know so-and-so? And I've tasted your food and all these things. And I've visited those cities in the past, sometimes way too long before I was born. So all those experiences of running into someone from different hometown than your own creates a lot of curiosity and storytelling and interactions. So I want to hear a little bit about where are you from?
I'm from Syria. So in Syria, we speak, the main language is Arabic. We do speak a few languages, like Aramaic, which is Jesus' language,
Yes.
Armenian, and Kurdish.
Okay, so you speak all five?
I don't. I speak Arabic, but yeah, we do have a few different languages,
wow.
yes.
And tell us a little bit about Syria and about your memories and experiences.
Well, Syria is part of the Middle East, and it's mentioned in the Bible as well. So it has a lot of religious, historic, and a lot of cultural topics also to speak about.
Fascinating to hear about different cultures.
Yeah, it's weird, like when someone asks me, do you have Christian in Syria? Yeah, like a lot. But some people think, no, it's like most of the Middle East is just Muslim, you know.
The Orthodox.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Thank
and you mentioned Syria being mentioned in the Bible. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ran into this church and how you connected.
Yeah, I still remember the first time it was, I believe, a Christmas service, and Syria was mentioned about the king of Syria. So I was like, wow, here I am. Yeah.
So you felt close
Yes.
by hearing the
Yes.
name Syria.
Yes.
And that's the association that happens when I meet people from different cultures and we ask, where are you from? And then that's where the conversation begins. It's not just about foreigners. I ask the
Right.
same questions from people who shares about their life and that doesn't sound like it's everyone else's. And I hear people from different parts of the U.S. and carrying different cultures and values and all of those. So it's the U.S. America is not a monocultural place, and depending on where you're from, everyone, even in the studio, carries different culture and backgrounds and value system. So when we have a variety of cultures living together, we have those unique experiences. So let me hear your experiences, your experience living in the U.S. as a Syrian. What do you experience and what do you run into?
It's pretty much the same like what you mentioned. Like the first thing people will ask you about your accent. And most of my experience is a nice experience. People will just start, you got a nice accent. Where are you from? And then I'll start saying, from Syria. And most of people will know where it is from, but some people, where it is, like in the Middle East. So they ask more and more, and then it opens up a little of speaking about food, about music, about culture. So it's icebreaker.
That's good. Like your accent, our accent, and our different looks become a new conversation starter. It sounds like you exchange a lot about the culture and the location and all the other things. So do you have any memorable experience or conversation you carry with you?
Yeah, I do have few of them, especially when I speak with those who've been to Syria. So it's very nice when they mention about my city, or they remember like some type of food, or like landmarks. So it's very nice.
Yes. And so there's a reason why I wanted to have you as my conversation partner. Although I love everyone, no matter where you're from, when I run into someone who's bilingual and speaks with a little accent, I learn something more from that conversation. And I speak Korean, you speak Arabic, and I don't know about you, but I serve as an interpreter often. So it's not like people ask me, do you translate what you hear into your own language and go back? And let me say, I think I have two processors going on. So when I have a conversation in English, that's the mode of thinking. And when I have a conversation in Korean, that's another mode of thinking. But sometimes they merge together in my thinking process. And even when you hear the same story, you process it in two different ways and bring in different values. So I was wondering if you do something similar, and also, is there any unique virtue or value you bring from Syria when you live in the U.S. mixed with people?
So it's pretty much similar. Like I moved to America like 6 years ago. So when I first moved, I would start thinking in Arabic in the back of my mind, and then I would speak in English. And then by the time now, even my dreams come in English. So it's very different now. But yeah, it's the process changed a little bit with the time moving forward.
Yes. And over at our lunch, you talked about the values you bring to this culture. And
Right.
Can you share a little bit more about that too?
So I feel like it's some of bringing your culture and morals from your place. So I feel like it's very common with the Oriental cultures and Middle Eastern. Like Jesus was Middle Eastern, so it's about generosity, it's about respect, being humble. It's all about that. Yeah.
Yes. So sometimes respect for the elder and respect for others can be a burden. There are two different cultural values here that focuses on the individual here, and then
Right.
the focus is more places a little heavier weight in the community. So can you tell me a little bit about your communal experiences in Syria and what's different here?
So, like talking of that in Syria, when it comes to respect, there is a respect for, let's say, the age difference. So we don't call the person who's older by their name. We should call them by like sir or title. So it's always like that. Yeah, and it's pretty much in the workplace also. So like they don't call by the name, so they call by Mr. or Miss or whatsoever. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of respect.
Yes, it's more formal.
I think out of your respect, I always experience your gentleness
Oh, thank
and
you.
kindness mixed in that tone of respect.
Yeah, it's part of the culture. True.
Yes. Do you ever get angry or get emotional?
Well, human, but I try to absorb it, so I try not.
That's funny. That's not funny. That's interesting. So, what would be one of good ways to approach you as someone who is from a different place?
I feel it's like just not making the other person feel stranger. It's nice when you make them feel always welcomed.
It sounds like you want your humanness to be seen first
Exactly.
before the differences.
Right.
Okay, so finding commonality with you might be a better approach. Okay.
Hey, it's Reverend Trudy. Thanks for tuning in for this week's Perspectives. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Well, and all those other things, you know what you have to do, so that you can get the latest episode as they go live. And if you're really enjoying the conversation, I invite you to help support this ministry. You can give online at fumcsd.org/give online. That's fumcsd.org/give online. Thank you.
So, in your previous sharing, you mentioned briefly about Syrian people being religious. So, how does that look like in your culture? How is that played out from your childhood and growing up?
It's also linked to the ethics and morals. So you bring a lot of morals with you when you are coming from a religious background. But being in the Methodist Church, it opens a lot of doors because you think first, you ask your mind first. So it gives you more freedom.
That's a great segue. But before we get there, I would like to have our guest to hear about your spiritual search that you shared with me a few years ago as we were talking about the baptism. You mentioned you growing up and reading different. Can you retell the story?
Yes, so I grew up with a different background, but then when I moved to America, I started searching for, like my faith and where I feel connecting to. And then driving back and forth every day, I would see that church building, and I feel like something is calling me to this place especially. And then started when in the Christmas service, I've been here just to see what's going on. I felt like something is calling me. And then, I had a very great feeling, and I decided that I need to come more and more till I'm a member right now.
So it sounds like you came to this church by accident or
Yes,
just by
yes.
special
Call. Yes.
and with some curiosity and
Right.
and That's a beautiful thing. And I also remember you telling me about your childhood experiences going through different.
Right. Yeah, that's where made me reach to the final destination, because I had a lot of readings and researches. And then going back to our topic about the stranger, being in that church for the first time, I felt very welcome. The hospitality. I had a feeling that everyone is one big family, so that made me feel like, okay, I belong to this place.
Oh, that's beautiful. And every time I sit down with you, you bring that warmth and hospitality and the kindness. I think it's mutual that when strangers come to a place with curiosity
Right.
and your sense of belonging,
Right.
and you receive the welcome of the people, and that makes that mutual hospitality complete and rich and deep learning from the question of where are you from.
Right.
And with that, do you also like run into a lot of people who've come from different cultures here and friends? Or you make new friends?
I do, yeah. Being in San Diego is a great exposure to meet a lot of different cultures and exchange ideas and experiences. So yes, I do in my workplace, my free time, and being with you, sometimes also exchanging a lot of experiences is amazing.
Yes. And you don't have to mention names, but do you have good friends who are from different cultures that
Yes, I
you
do.
learn and have fun with?
Yes, yes, I do. Most of my friends are from different places of the world, so it's a very nice combination.
And what gifts do you take away from those friendship from different cultures?
I feel like a human connection.
Human connection. And when do you feel the most profound human connections?
It's just being together. It's just like being open to each other.
And do you eat out a lot, or?
I do. Yes.
Yes, hopefully one day we can go out and
Sure.
explore different culture through table food. It's always nice sitting down with you and have
Thank you,
a
likewise.
conversation. And it sounds like there's a lot more we can learn from each other by simply sharing where are you from and what values you bring to this community. And we appreciate your presence
Thank you,
with
my
us.
pleasure.
And you were one of my best ushers. Greeters when you were able to serve.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And look at the smile. So that was a good conversation. I hope to have you back sometime more to share about different parts of our human connections.
Thanks so much. And I'll keep enjoying your episodes because I just listened to the last one with Demi and it was amazing. So thank you for what you do.
And thanks for watching us, and thanks for being connected with us and bringing your values and cultures to this house of God. So with that, I would like to pose a few questions to our viewers. So the first one would be, what comes to your mind when you run into someone who looks and speaks and dresses differently than you do? And you can also think about, how do you engage in a conversation with people of different racial, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds? And the last question would be, like we discussed, what can we learn from those relationships? Thanks for joining us today, and I will see you next time.
This is a production of First United Methodist Church of San Diego. To learn more about our events and ministries and to access additional learning resources, visit fumcsd.org.